wouldn't Tennessee be absolutely shocked if the NCAA did not take the findings of their investigation that they rode shotgun on with all of this?
This is a Christmas gift to Vols fans who have been waiting on this report for months.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's been waiting on, Tennessee to, do something one way or the other for months, just because the cloud that's kind of hung over this place has hurt recruiting. Opposing schools have been able to use it against Tennessee. It's going to be a 4-year bowl ban, a 3-year bowl ban. I mean, some of the stuff that these kids have told me that they've heard from certain schools is, has always been comical. And even, listen, I mean, even if the NCAA ruled, I don't think Tennessee's getting more than a 1-year bowl ban, just because I don't feel like at the time, they're not going to, especially with the legislation out there, to not punish those that are no longer there, or not punish the kids that are there instead of the ones that are no longer there that were guilty. It just made no sense. And, I saw Pat Forty come out today, and he kind of, had his, column and take on the Oklahoma State thing. And, felt like, the kids that were complaining they were in middle school when all this went down, they should have done their investigation on what was going on at Oklahoma State themselves and done their due diligence. See, I think Pat's wrong in that regard. I mean, so you're telling me that, players can go and play at other schools that, we all know were involved in all this, and they can go to the playoffs or go to a bowl game, but kids at Tennessee can, or kids at Oklahoma State can't. I mean, I just think that's a bit comical to me. And again, I think that's part of the problem with, everything that goes on is there's no rhyme or reason to anything that any governing body of any sport does, because every, situation gets ruled differently. It's never the same across the board. And I think that's what fans just wish there was. It was a static, okay, this is a, level 2. That means you get this, this, and this. But no, there's never that. Some people turn up the proverbial middle finger to the NCAA. Some try to do the right thing like Oklahoma State did yesterday. Over $300. $300. I mean, are you kidding me right now? I mean, that's unbelievable.
"'Tis the season" is all I think every time I see Austin Price with that Christmas tree.
Sing for us.
But we know, Austin, that in the Oklahoma State story is one that shows the unpredictability of the NCAA and how illogical a lot of these decisions are with how they mete out judgment on these schools. But I still feel like, wouldn't Tennessee be absolutely shocked if the NCAA did not take the findings of their investigation that they rode shotgun on with all of this? Or is Tennessee fully prepared for the NCAA to possibly come back and say, nope, 2-year bowl ban or 1-year bowl ban coming up in a year or two?
At this point, I don't know how Tennessee would handle all that. I mean, at this current stage, who knows what it'll look like in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? As long as it takes them to rule on anything, is the fact that Tennessee's just said, yeah, we're going to self-impose some stuff, and they've already self-imposed some things, to this point in the year. But I mean, again, like you start looking at scholarship limitations, and let's say Tennessee's going to, have 20 over 3 years. Well, and I don't even think that number is right, but I'm just saying, let's just go with the number 20. It's round. 20 over 3 years. Tennessee's 12 under right now. So 12 is already gone. So you got to get 8 more in the next 2 years. Well, I mean, that's not that hard to be at 81 for the next 2 years. So, I mean, you get 56 official visitors a year. Let's say you only get 51 for the next couple of years. Does the common fan notice that? No. The common fan doesn't know if they have 56 visitors, 156 visitors, 5 visitors. Again, like most of this stuff, the common fan is never going to notice. Coaches going out on the road recruiting, they're never going to notice. So they would notice a bowl ban, but they're not going to notice the other things that are involved that, play just as important a role in all of this as anything.
Austin, how big is this for this current Tennessee team? Because it feels like a group that going to a bowl game is important to them, where it may not be as important for a lot of teams across college football. But this does seem like a team that's worked really hard. They've exceeded some expectations. They'd like to play one more game together. Am I wrong in thinking that? Or is this a big boost for them?
No, I think you're exactly right. No, I think you're exactly right, Chad. I mean, I think they do want to play a game together because they all get along on the field. There's a really nice bond amongst this team. They've kind of, stuck in there and battled through these tough times, through all the allegations and the cloud overhanging the program, and everybody's saying y'all aren't going to be any good. Defense is going to be terrible. What will they do at the quarterback position? This and that over the last 9 months or so, 10 months, and they've kind of hung in there. They battled, they competed, they found themselves at this current point 4-4 on the season with 4 to go, 3 winnable games. Georgia being the one that's doesn't look it, but that's why you play the game. You play every game because in any given Saturday or Sunday or even a Friday night for that matter, anybody can beat anybody, especially in college football these days. There's more parity than ever before. Tennessee, go to Kentucky Saturday. They've won 33 of the last 36. Even in Tennessee's terrible decade that they've had, they've won 7 of 10 against the Wildcats. And so, the kids on this team go in thinking we're supposed to beat Kentucky. So if they win Saturday, likelihood is they're beating South Alabama and Vanderbilt. They're going 7-5 with a team that nobody predicted to do a whole lot of anything. And that's with a loss to Pittsburgh and a narrow loss to Ole Miss. So, this is a team that deserves to go to a bowl, and a bunch of kids that have kind of stuck in there and fought through the hard times, and they deserve to go to a bowl.
Austin, how was the bye week for Tennessee recruiting-wise, with all the coaches able to go out on the road? And now that this is behind them with no bowl ban, and they've announced this, is this going to help this current class for Tennessee?
Well, I do think that it helps to go back to some kids that maybe had some questions. I think there are even kids that really like Tennessee, and Tennessee's potentially their leader, but they are skeptical to get in the boat because of everything they hear out there. And so they're able to go back to these kids and say, okay, here's the deal. These are some things we're doing that it won't affect you because Tennessee's going to sign a full signing class. Because again, the number of scholarships that you would potentially be reduced by is off the 85, not off of the 25 signing class. So Tennessee can sign 25. They just may have to be at 82 instead of 85 or 81 or whatever the number is. So, at the end of the day, I think in recruiting, you're going to double back to some guys and say, okay, you wondered, now we know. Will you at least give us a look? Come check us out. Come hang out with us for a weekend and see what's going on. And we'll see kind of the reception they get when they do that, because that will come. They will call some kids and ask them to come give them a look. And we'll be interested to see what kind of reception they get now that this has come out.